Should the Raiders go after Aaron Rodgers? Let's find out. Welcome back, you scallywags and you nationers, and all you enemies of the Raider Nation. It is I again, Eric, and we are back live here another Friday evening, and we are going over our offensive gaps following this 2023 off season. I want to say hello to you. I know some of you are just filing in right now. How are you doing tonight? You want to go into the chat, and if you are watching this on a repeat, and I have a lot of people who do, why not like it right now as you step in, and why not give it a subscribe so you're live with us and can interact with us in our question and answer segment. And to do that, it is the pinned comment, as you can see right there on the side of the live chat. And tonight we're going to talk about the three positions I want to go over and fill in the gaps on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to talk about a new hire that the Raiders have just made, and we're going to give you the latest on the Derek Carr conundrum, shall we say. That said, let's get into it. If you are new to the program, this is how we normally do it. We have what we call the rundown here, and we have all of our titles here, and then at the end we will have our question and answer segment. We also have a live voting right now on the live stream. And I asked which quarterback would you want to start for the Raiders 2023 season. So go ahead and vote on that now. But as we normally do, we go to you and see how you're doing here with our champion count.
I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
Yeah, and we are taking what we want like true pirates. And what we are doing is we are actually raising our sub count. As you can see, especially on the YouTube side, we have exclusively been simulcasting live streams on the YouTube side since the off season. And we have made the jump. We have also made a few more adjustments to the channel. And I think that has done a good job for us. And I do appreciate each and every one of you, as I normally do. That said, we always have a Raider poll of the week. I want you to go here, and this is what we had. I asked which offensive area is the most important to fill this offseason. And of course, most of you scalawags said a new quarterback, and it's hard to argue because that is the most important position in the National Football League, as now we are in a touch football league, so I cannot argue that. But you could say a lot has to do with the offensive line. We will be talking about these positions here very, very shortly. With that said, let's get right to our Raider reload of the offensive side of the ball.
I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
As you can see right here, this is the current status of the Raiders, and I'll get to the color codings in 1 minute. Of course, we have our rankings. This is based on yards per game. We had to go by per game because they canceled the one. Not too bad overall. Of course, if you remember, we had our season review, and the big thing there was that we were having issues not only on third down being below average in the league average, but really still having the problems in the red zone scoring touchdowns. Now, as far as the color coding goes, if you see silver around the player, that means we have them for at least 2 more years. If you see yellow, that means they are due. This is their last year coming up in the 2023 season. And if you see red, that means they will be a free agent when the official season starts on March 15th. Now, of course, I have Josh Jacobs here in orange. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, of course. But the first place I want to talk about, of course, to fill the hole is that of departing Derek Carr. Of course, that just makes total sense. Even Jared Stidham is unrestricted free agent at this time. Technically, we do have Chase Garbers for one more season. Now, here are some options just like we've done last year. I'm going to go through each one of these slightly. And what I want to talk about here is this is who they are. You normally have put the veterans in blue, but I put Aaron Rodgers in yellow because this would involve a trade. Now, the rookies would be in green, and then I put what the cost would be for this. So, of course, Aaron Rodgers is due to make $32 million next season. Now, that's not necessarily meaning he's only going to settle for that if we do have to trade for him. And that's why I put this asterisk there, because it's going to cost us draft capital to get this guy if we choose to go in that direction. Jimmy Garoppolo, the SpotTrack.com had him valued at $35 million. I would say closer to $30 million. If that was the case, I'd definitely rather have Derek Carr at $35 million. But he was an unrestricted free agent at this time with San Francisco 49ers. And of course, a lot of things are going to be happening with the dominoes falling. Whoever gets Derek Carr, not only that, who's going to be drafting a quarterback early in the first round? And that's going to tell the tale here. I think Garoppolo would be available. I think that's a little pricey. Then I went and showed some of the rookie quarterbacks. Now, I took the top 6 that Pro Football Focus had here. This is their rankings. I will get into my rankings later as we get closer to draft time. You got Bryce Young from Alabama, of course. He's the first one on their board. Likely to go first overall. His knock is that he is not the biggest person at quarterback, and people are a little worried that he might not have a shelf life. But that said, we are in a two-hand touch league, so that might not be such a concern. Will Levis is their number 2 ranked quarterback. Big kid, you could say he is Josh Allen light. And I would say very light because I really kind of question his decision making and some of his accuracy at times. So I would not have him ranked number 2, but they do. Number 3 is CJ Stroud. Ohio State showed out big, even in a losing effort. We'll talk about that. Psycho Jackal says, hang on. Psycho Jackal says, what if they end up keeping Carr past the 14th? We will be talking about that when we get to our As the Car Turns dramedy going on right now. There's some new news on that. I want to get through what we need as far as the offense goes. Obviously, Derek Carr will not be here in the 2023 season. I do not think so. We'll get to that, though. Next one is Anthony Richardson, kind of a wild card. Some people say he's a Lamar. I've said before, I think he's more of a Cam Newton. In my opinion, I think he throws the ball a hell of a lot better than Lamar Jackson does. But I'm thinking somewhere in the first. I think I put asterisk these first 3. I think these guys will be gone by the 7th pick. So if we want them, or a sailor, yes, indeedy. If we want them, we're going to have to move up, and likely move up with Chicago and give them a king's ransom. Richardson could be available at 7. He could also be available late in the first round if we move up. Again, that's very fluid at this point. We are still in February. We have a couple months left to the draft, 2.5 months. So things move up, they move down. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll be doing our mock drafts as well. And then a couple guys, Tanner McKee from Stanford. Some people are high on him. And then Hendon Hooker, a 25-year-old, 10th year senior or whatever, from Tennessee. He's had his ups, he's had his downs. Right now he's out scheduled in mocks to be in the 2nd round. I know some of you guys are looking at him as well. So these are our options at quarterback. What I'll be doing the defensive side of the ball next week, and then I'm going to tie it all together with what I would want to do and tie it in with the salary cap. So the second hole that I want to look at, now I mentioned this, speaking of which, I mentioned this in our salary cap review last week. If you haven't taken a look at it, go ahead and take a look at that as well. I'm all for cutting Andre James. We could save $5 million on the cap. Move Dylan Parham to where I think he should naturally be at starting center, which means we're going to need not only one, but two guards. Alex Bars is a UFA, unrestricted free agent, but I think he sucks anyway. We should not retain him. So we're going to have two positions open the way I see it. And here are some of the options I'm going to look at. Kind of go top down. Isaac Samalo, Philadelphia Eagles. He's probably going to be the coveted prize. Spot Track has him going at $12 million. I put it at around 10. Still a hefty price to pay for a guard, but he is the 9th ranked guard in PFF for what that's worth. Had another solid season. And then a couple guys, if you're familiar with the AFC West, you know these names. Trey Turner and Dalton Reisner. Turner, it's coming from the Washington, but before he was with the Chargers. And Dalton Reisner, first round pick, Denver Broncos, not living up to the standard or the what was expected of him. Let's just say it. And I put it probably be about $5 million to retain him. So those are kind of some lower vet options. And then I have three guys. There are of course more guards that we can get in the draft, but I want to focus in on these three guys. Peter Skoronski. A lot of people say he might be the first offensive lineman off the board. Some people say he's slipping a little bit now. Played left tackle. His knock is people say he has short arms. He might not make it as a left tackle in the National Football League. Move him into guard. I think he's probably ready-made to do that. So if we want him, it's going to be a first-round pick. Osiris Torrance. I like this guy. Big, bruising type of guy from Florida Gators. Kind of a beast. I think we could get him around late first, second round pick. He might move up in the draft. You never know by April. So, but he's definitely an option. They'll kind of get back to the Raider way, be more physical, be able to run the ball even better than we have been in the interior offensive line. And then the third guy, Cody Mock. I call him Trevor Penning light. This guy is got attitude out the wazoo. He even kind of looks like a little pirate if you see him. He's kind of got red hair. He's missing teeth. North Dakota State guy. He might make it into the first round when it's all said and done, but right now he's projected as a second round pick. And what I like about him, again, another guy who's played tackle. They're not sure if he can make it in the NFL level, but there is some versatility there. He might be able to play some in relief, but I like him better at guard. He's very athletic, follows through, and he wants to hit people. He wants to find blocks down second and third level and take people out. He is not slowing down. Officer Rollout says Minshew Mania fits the Raiders Stabler mode. Al Davis isn't here anymore, so that would be NA. All right, we'll move on. Our third position, of course, I've got to say it, guys, because it's running back, of course. I'm not so sure we're going to be able to keep Josh Jacobs, and I talked about this last week. If we want to, it's going to be a franchise tag. That means we have him for 1 year. We have to pay him the average of the top 5 running backs in the league for 2023, and that's roughly $16 million. That's a huge payout. But I put some veterans here, of course. Saquon Barkley's going to be a free agent. He's probably going to demand around 12 or 13 million. Looked pretty good this season, coming off the knee injury, 2 years removed, over 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, solid type back. Then we got a couple lower price guys. Kareem Hunt, remember him with the Chiefs. Spent some time with Cleveland. Chubb also obviously was the number one there with the Browns. Now he's going to be out looking for a new team. And then Jamal Williams, a very underrated running back, a guy who can get those goal line carries as well. But don't let him fool you. He was over 1,000 yards this season, and I think that could be an option, especially a low price option. Where especially if we don't keep Josh Jacobs. And then there are three running backs I want to look at in the draft. There are several more. I want to say salute to you as well, Al's Ghost. How you doing tonight? Of course, we're going to talk about Bijan Robinson, University of Texas, standout running back. Could go in the first round, maybe first or second round. Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama, more of a third down type back. I don't think he's big enough to handle the load of a bell cow like Robinson is, but could be a nice side piece with that if we do retain Jacobs or get a 3-down back. So I wouldn't be above that. Again, we'll see how it goes as far as mocks and where these guys shake out once we get closer to the draft. And then Devin Achane, Texas Tech, this kid, if you're looking for a spark, I mean, this guy was a former track team guy. He's got the burst. He's got the power. He could run back punts for you as well, kickoffs, that kind of thing. I think he might be worth a look in maybe the second or third round, probably more the third round since we have a high round pick. But that could be something that could be very special for us. And he can catch the ball, of course. Now, that said, I want to go into the new hire. It was just announced that Scott Turner, former offensive coordinator for the Washington Whatevers, is now with the Raiders in a pass play coordinator role. Here, I just put his little resume here. Of course, this is from Wikipedia. What I know about this guy, Scott Turner, of course, son of Norv Turner, who was a great offensive coordinator, not so much on the head coaching side, offensive-minded guy. Could be some bloodline there. But if you look at it, though, Washington did not look that good this year on the offensive side of the ball. Let's be honest. I'm not so sure about this hire, but maybe if he's doing the play calling duties and not McDoofus, that might just be a plus right there. The other thing I want to talk about is the dramedy that is the Derek Carr sweepstakes. Now, we have some news, couple new things. One that's kind of not really newsworthy. The other one kind of lends to what I think is going to happen. I've talked about this before. Let's go over the kind of the non-issue, in my opinion. Raiders grant him permission to talk with other teams. And then it says down here, any teams interested will also need to first agree on compensation with Las Vegas. Well, no shit. I mean, this is kind of a non-issue. Everybody knows he's gone. This is not any kind of surprise. And if he's talking to certain teams that he wants to go to help promulgate that just makes common sense. It can't really do anything about it until the Raiders are on board as well. So the second one, though, I think is even more so. And that was the report that Derek Carr is not going to extend that February 15th date on that contract. He says, I don't think that would be best for me. And number one, I totally agree with him. It would not be best for him. Why should he do any favors for the Raiders? I've talked about this before. So he's basically saying, I will not extend my current contract. If you hit the February 15th deadline, the Raiders will owe him guaranteed $40 million, $35 this year, $5 the next year. That is the reality of the situation. Now, if they do trade him, of course, and we talked about that, and I'm answering your question right now, Psycho Jackal, that's what's going to happen. If we keep him, we're on the hook for $40 million. Now, if we trade him, we'll make probably some kind of an agreement about how the compensation is going to work. That kind of happened with the Stafford-Goff trade a couple years back, if you remember that. That actually was completed in principle before the March 15th new season began. So something like that. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to just straight cut him. Yes, there is a chance. I give it maybe about a 30% chance we're actually going to trade him. But it's going to have to be a pretty sweet deal for Derek Carr, number one. Some of the places that have been talked about, of course, I've talked about the Jets. I've talked about the Saints. That one's kind of getting some more heat if you look around social media. And also, I talked about this before, and that is going to the dark side and going to New England, being a New England Patriot. Now, wouldn't that be something, right? And I said Mac Jones, not so impressed with him. Derek Carr would be a definite upgrade. And and of course we have the Patriot ties here, so maybe there would be something to that. Stay tuned. Of course, we will have more for you when we actually get it here. I'll probably go live right away once we get the news if I am available. Otherwise, I will make a video on it wherever he goes, whether it's a trade or an out-and-out release, which I think is going to happen. That said, how you guys doing tonight? Yes, I have my pirate gear on. I have my eye patch on. I do, how are you guys doing? I see you in here. Oh my God. Offer 26, a KFC franchise as a sweetener. Josh Jacobs, I don't think he wants to be here. So I've said my piece on that. The Raiders are completely legally able to franchise tag him. I would wonder if he would just get pissed off about that and pull a Darren Waller and get hurt and all that other nonsense. We'd be on the hook. And like I said, we'd be on the hook for him for $16 million. To me, that's not worth it. If you wanted to make a deal with him, you had already made a deal with him by now. It's not going to happen. You would have extended him. I didn't really think he should have gotten an extension before this season. He wasn't playing so well, to be honest with you. So we could have had the 5th-year extension. That didn't happen. That kind of made sense at the time. And then he kind of balled out, got the rushing title. So I don't think he's going to be here, guys. And one of the free agents is Daniel Jones of the Giants. And perhaps Carr could get cut and go to the Giants. And Josh Jacobs could follow him because Saquon's going to be gone. So who knows? Derek is talking about wanting to go to a place where he can vie for a title. I'm not so sure about the Giants. They're kind of sneaky on the defensive side, but not a whole lot of weapons. Let's face it there right now. And with Saquon gone, I don't think so. I think maybe his best bet would be Indianapolis or New Orleans. I say Indianapolis. They're both dome teams. Don't really have to play in the cold that much. Indianapolis has Jonathan Taylor still, some weapons around him. A very good offensive line, something he hasn't had in his career for the most part. And I think the defense is above average. So I'm not saying the Colts defense is great, but it's better than the Raiders. And then we go to New Orleans side, another dome team. You got Chris Olave, a budding wide receiver there. Michael Thomas is still there. I have no idea why, but he's still there for some reason. You got Alvin Kamara. I mean, the guy can do it all. He's like a Roger Craig type running back, receiving and rushing guy. So there's weapons in place, and you get to play in the NFC South, which is absolute trash. I know somebody mentioned on one of my videos about how Tom Brady had only not made the playoffs once or something, and I'm like, they went 8-9 this year. Tampa had no business going into the playoffs. Let's be honest. The other 3 teams sucked even worse in that division. So, and then you add in the turmoil again. Tom Brady's gone in Tampa. Atlanta, what's going on there? They're going to go with the rookie. Carolina, they tried Darnold and Mayfield. Those are gone. I don't know what they're probably going to draft a quarterback here. So, it's all there. Those other teams are in flux. New Orleans has the chance if they could get a guy like Derek Carr, solid type quarterback. Who knows? You know, they still have Cam Jordan and that sneaky defense that shut us out. So let's see what we got. Red Wolf says, doing well, champ. Just shopping at Lowe's and listen to the podcast. Well, I do appreciate that. If I know a lot of people can't watch, that's okay. You're just seeing my face. I've got my pirate gear on. That's probably the only time to actually watch, but I do appreciate you coming on. Went over the offensive side. Next week, we're going to go over the defensive side and some options, both in free agency and in the draft. And what I do, like I did last year, the week after that, I will combine them all and I'll give you my picks. I'll say, this is what I would do if I was GM. I'll get these players, get these guys on salary cap, get these guys with these draft picks. So, and of course, we're going to have the Derek Carr dramedy. I don't know what else to call it at this point. Derek Carr, if you didn't see it the other, I think it was today rather. Today, yeah, Friday. He was in the Pro Bowl now. If you don't know, he's like the 5th alternate or whatever the hell. And basically nobody wants to play in the damn thing, or they're in the Super Bowl or playoffs. They don't need to be dealing with that nonsense. So anyway, of course it's in Las Vegas. He's there representing the Raiders, which is kind of funny. He did an accuracy competition. He won it, and he looked really good. And the announcer, I think it was ESPN or whatever, CBS Sports, they asked, "Oh, you're real hot today. Is this the hottest have you ever been hotter while your time in Vegas?" And he says, "No, that's why I'm not going to be here anymore." And a lot of people are saying, "Well, that was a knock on the Raiders." No, it was kind of self-deprecating. Like he wasn't doing that well accuracy wise, and that's why he's gone. I didn't really see that as a knock on the franchise. It was kind of more of a tongue-in-cheek slam on himself. So let's see. Officer Rollout says the Finns need him in South Beach. At least he can overthrow the cheetah. I don't know if he can overthrow I don't know if anybody can overthrow Tyreek Hill. I'm just going to say that. But he can do a hell of a lot better job than Tua did. And now that Tua's brains are scrambled, hate to say, like I said, the league did him wrong. I could see that. It would be very interesting, though, with Miami. That would be a decent landing spot for him. I like Coach McDaniel without the S. The one with the S means shit. If you put an S on McDaniel's. But Coach McDaniel down there with the Dolphins looks pretty solid. So far, so good. Defense is coming up. They got Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator, if you don't know. Shitty head coach in Denver, but solid defensive coordinator guy, And like I said, like I said with Norv Turner was a shitty head coach. He was a solid offensive coordinator. So some people, they can only do the coordinator job, and that's fine. And Vic Fangio has shown that. And of course, he gets to reunite with Bradley Chubb. Miami's the team to look out for. And like I said, New England's regressed. Buffalo got humbled. Let's be honest. They kind of looked mortal the last few weeks of the regular season, and then with Cincinnati basically owned them. That was kind of a joke, and all this Buffalo talk and nonsense. So Miami, it's there for the picking. The Jets are they're kind of sneaky, but again, they need a quarterback. Is Derek Carr going to go there? I don't know. We'll see. Are they going to go with another rookie, Zach Wilson? I think they've pretty much all but given up on that guy. So what are the Jets going to do? So I think Miami's sitting pretty in a definite league, especially with what happened to Tua. It's sad. After the first one, they let him play again, and then they pulled him back for a while, and he came back, and he got another one, the week before the end of the season. So I would say maybe for his sake, he should just call it quits at that point. They'll probably get some kind of settlement. Maybe the NFL will pay out the rest of his contract or something, I'm sure, because for them to save face, they got to do something. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And I saw a report that concussions were up this year, like 25%. I saw an article. So NFL's got to do some damage control with this one. I think maybe at this point, I'm not a doctor, of course, but at this point, if Tua retires, maybe that's the best thing for him. So if you want to join the chat right here, join the chatty middies. You can go on there. I have the link right there on the pinned comment. You go ahead and click that. You will be you just establish a name or whatever. Put your same name. You'll be put in the green room, and then I'll see you on my other screen. You do not have to be on camera if you do not choose to. Come on. You want to talk about the offensive side of the ball. You want to talk about the defensive side of the ball. To me, I do them separately because it's so much to go over, and to not only research and kind of give my take on what's going on, and then relate it to the salary cap. And we have the situation where we need a quarterback. First time in like a decade, right? 9 years since we've actually needed a starting quarterback. So we can talk about that as well. What's with the eye patch? Cataract or cat attack? Yeah, matey, this is the Pirates we're talking about right here. We're filling the holes. Didn't you see my thumbnail? This is why I'm doing it. Having a little fun playing the pirate music. I played that at the beginning if you were here with that. So, and of course, if you are watching this on a replay, you were here for the beginning of that. I do appreciate that. But why not come on here? Why not be here part of the live chat? You can be in the chat and the text chat, but you can also join us here and sound off. And the way to do that is to subscribe to the channel. And you subscribe, hit the bell notification, set it to all. Then you'll be notified of my future live streams. I normally go on every Friday. I might be doing a little bit more as we go on, depending on the news and everything that goes on. I'm not gonna go on a live stream just to talk about Scott Turner. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's honestly, it's kind of a minor hiring. The offense was okay. My problem with Scott Turner is if you look at the stats for Washington, they didn't do much better on third down conversions, and they were just as bad with us in the red zone as far as scoring percentage. Those are two big problems I had with this offense as far as coaching standpoint. So what's that going to do? But you could talk about the other side of the coin. You could say, well, he was in a much tougher division. He didn't have Devontae Adams. He didn't have the league leading rusher at his disposal. He had a running back, one running back that got hurt, one running back that got shot and came back, another running back that couldn't stop fumbling the ball. So, I mean, you can make the argument for it, but maybe if he's doing the play calling duties, that I'll take that as a plus, because I'm not impressed with McDaniels and what he's doing there, especially at the beginning of the season. He kind of calmed down a little bit there second half. These stupid gadget plays, the fake punt when we're leading the game, or the fake the onside kick. Why are you doing nonsense like that? It makes no sense. And then 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work out, and you look like a big buffoon. So let's see. Anybody want to come on live here? Right here with the chat. You come on here right now. Let's see what we got. We got 6 people in here right now and 8 likes. Kind of like that. Just to remind you, if you have come in and you didn't like it, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button on your way in, or you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I'll take it either way. If you're listening, like Raider Wolf is, going to Lowe's, getting some honeydews or some home improvement items. I've been kind of doing that with the new place as well, so I hear you on that one. I appreciate you coming in. If you're just listening as well and you can't come on, that's fine as well. Like I said, next week, we're going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to give my take on some of these rookies. Some of these rookies I'm not so impressed with. If you've looked at the Senior Bowl, I'm going to leave it at that as kind of a teaser. But we'll get into that. We'll get into some options that we need, of course. I think the 3 positions on the defensive side are pretty obvious, the top 3. And I go over the top 3 because you're not going to be able to get superstars everywhere, and I understand that. That's why I went on the offensive side of the ball. We could talk about Darren Waller possibly getting traded and needing a tight end, but I think that can probably be filled out in free agency and getting a decent guy. Foster Moreau is a free agent. Hallelujah. I mean, I know a lot of Raider Nation likes the guy. I have no idea why, to be honest with you. He's athletic. But he plays like he's on a Pop Warner team. He's so scared. He is literally so scared of fumbling the ball anymore. He runs with it like this, and it just hampers him. I don't know what's going on with that. And it happened all season. It wasn't like some craziness going on, and it got corrected. Of course, nothing gets corrected with this coaching staff. So why would I expect anything different? Horstead's also a free agent. I wouldn't mind keeping him, retaining him. Former Chicago Bears receiving type tight end. he could blossom into something. Put him as your number 2 or number 1. Get a low rent free agent or get a mid late round draft pick or something like that. Probably maybe more of a blocking guy. He can do that too, but I think his forte is more for the passing side, to be honest with you. Need to utilize him a little more. I liked when we utilized him. We saw a lot more of him, obviously, in the preseason. But I think there's an opportunity there. And the way Darren Waller is, I would love to trade him at this point. I'm tired of paying full price for half a season. This is kind of turning into the Trent Brown saga with this guy, hurt all the time. I'm not saying he's eating a bunch of Big Macs like Trent Brown, but your best ability is availability. He's just not here, so I'm ready to move on. I don't think we will. We got him under contract for 2 more years, so it is what it is. Also, next week we'll talk, of course, about the Chandler Jones situation. I might put Khalil Mack up there as an option. I'm not sure if edge rusher is going to be one of our top 3 priorities, to be honest with you, but you'll have to stay tuned. Stay tuned next week, and we'll talk about that and see that. Again, if you are new to the program, we normally go about an hour, given the chat and the commentary. When we do mock drafts, we go a little bit longer because it takes a little bit longer. Encourage you, again, if you're enjoying this, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel, helps the algorithm. If you're new here, subscribe. I do go to the channel, see all my stuff. I've done a schedule review already. I already did a salary cap review of everybody. You can see itemized. You can see it by position, by defense versus offense, and why we were so offensively heavy. Now Derek Carr's going to go. That's going to help us. But anyway, go ahead and do that. Take a look at that. If you have any more comments, I'll take those now. Otherwise, we'll probably close this one out. I will be back next week to do the defensive side of the ball, and then we'll put it all together and tell you what I would do if I was the GM and what makes sense draft pick wise and salary cap wise. Let's see. And also, we have our voting. Let me see. I'll give you guys some time to do the voting. Okay, we have our live poll. We do a poll of the week every week on the channel. So if you are subscribed, you'll get that in the community section. Should come up on your stream as well if you're looking through YouTube videos. But also, when you come here, we also do a separate poll, and I put who should be the Raiders starting quarterback in 2023. It was Aaron Rodgers in the beginning, but now it's on the rookie side, which, okay, it's kind of okay. It looks like we're kind of in that rebuild mode. And I said it before. I mean, I don't want to be in a rebuild mode, but this regime has kind of put us in rebuild mode. Let's be honest. With Carr gone, unless we go out and give a bunch of draft capital and money to Aaron Rodgers, we're basically in rebuild mode now. Plus, the defense is terrible. It was 28th in yards last year. Couldn't generate a turnover to save its life. Had a little streak here and there. I know they got that pick six, Amik. And then the stupid Chandler Jones play, which was just, like I said, the Patriots, they just gave us that one. It was a gift, so I'm not going to put that. So let's see. Al's Ghost says, what do you think? Champ, what do you think? Would we stay put at 7? Yes, I do think so. I do think I will tell you when I get everything together what I would do, but from a standpoint of what I think the Raiders, this McDaniels and Ziegler are going to do this regime, I think we're going to stay at 7. Would it shock me if we went up to number 1 and traded with the Bears to get a hot rookie quarterback? No. And I talked about this where they need some kind of spark, some kind of zing, some kind of sizzle this year, especially since we went from 10-7 to 6-11. They're going to have to do something for the fans. I don't know what it is yet. Is that mean going to get Aaron Rodgers? I'm glad we're not getting Tom Brady. If you hadn't heard, he's retired for good. Of course, If you are subscribed, you probably saw that. My comment on the community tab as well. I put those out as well for any kind of minor things that I want to talk about NFL wise. I'm glad he's gone. I did not want him here. I didn't want to pay him the money. There's no way he would last 17 games, in my opinion, with this offensive line. So that said, I think we will stand pat at 7. Now, who we pick at 7, that's going to be for another time. Again, we're in early February. Things change. Anthony Richardson, to me, I would probably, I know people aren't going to like this, I'd probably put him as my number 2 quarterback right now. I've talked about this. I'd probably put Stroud 1. I don't like him because he's a little too small. That's just my preference. I'm worried about Kyler Murray. I'm worried about like RG3, somebody getting hurt. It only takes one time, and then that's it. He's done. Richardson, I like the upside. I like that he can run with the ball, and frankly, with this offensive line, he's going to have to, because this offensive line is terrible. And even Colton Miller had an off year. Let's be honest. He's our best guy. He had an off year last year. I wouldn't mind Richardson out of this bunch. I think it's probably the best fit for us right now. Stroud is a stud. We'll see what happens though. But definitely to get Stroud, I think we're gonna have to move up. I think 3 quarterbacks are gonna go before our pick at 7 at least. So it'd be interesting though. If not, I wouldn't mind trading back. I wouldn't mind. There is some decent offensive line players that we could look at if somebody wanted to move back with us. I wouldn't mind moving back and then moving up to get Richardson in the first. I talked about that. Getting that 5th year option as all first round picks have. So Oregon State has a monster tight end coming out of the draft. I'll have to take a look at that with the Beavers. So I don't know. I guess I have to be a Ducks fan or a Beavers fan now. So I'm gonna have to choose. Maybe I'll have a poll. Ducks, Beavers, which one? So, but tight end, it's definitely not a huge need for us, especially if we keep with Waller. That just makes sense. If we don't, then it's hard pressed for me to put a high draft pick on a tight end for the most part. This mostly doesn't work out. Kid from Atlanta might be the exception. We'll see. But most of the time, it's kind of shaky, let's be honest. So maybe 3rd or 4th round pick. That's an option. If we keep Waller, I don't want to draft a tight end at all. We have too many other holes. If we trade Waller, then yeah, let's draft one in the mid rounds. All right. Anybody else have anything else? You guys vote. I'm going to close it out in about 10 seconds. Get the final polling vote here. If you have not voted, there it is. It's right up there at the top. Who should be the Raiders starting quarterback in 2023? Who do you think the Raiders starting quarterback should be in 2023? Any more? Going once, going twice, and we're sold. So the winner is a rookie. Like I said, it's a little surprising to me, honestly. A lot of fans, a lot of Raider Nation. It's hard for them to. Here we go, C.J. Stroud. We're gonna have to move up to get him. We have to call up Chicago and give him a bunch of picks. But yeah, I wouldn't mind C.J. Stroud. But again, Raider Nation does not want to go into a rebuild. I don't want to go into a rebuild, but I like to be a realist. And realistically speaking, we're not ready yet. We're not going to win a Super Bowl next season. Let's be honest. Even if we got Aaron Rodgers, look at the defense. The defense is absolutely pathetic. I mean, Chandler Jones would have to play like Max Crosby to even think about that. The interior line is suspect. We're going to lose Perryman. He's probably going to get more money somewhere else. Who are the cornerbacks going to be this year? I don't know. They probably put an ad out, in the newspaper, or put some kind of one ad out for cornerbacks. That's basically what they were putting out there near the end of the season. They didn't have anybody. A bunch of walk-on undrafted guys. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and they're trying to pass that off as legitimacy. It's nonsense. Are you doing a draft night live stream? I normally do. I will normally. It depends on how many people want that and want to come out. If not, I will do a recap. I've done like recaps of day 1, day 2, day 3. I go over all the draft picks, and I grade them. I go over their pluses and minuses. So we do that as well. How's Ghost says I'd go with Steady and draft a quarterback. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. I'm going to, like I said, when I get the defense together, because I'm gonna if I'm the GM, I'm gonna have to do something about this defense. I'm gonna put some money into it. I don't know where yet. Probably draft capital as well. Early draft capital. Like I said, it's almost like I need to get into the first round late if I want to, like if Richardson's there, to draft a guy that I can groom and go with Stidham this year and then get a stud at 7. I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. But I need to look a little bit more at the defensive players in free agency and how much I really want to spend on them. Have Steady teach the rookie the system. Absolutely. I think that's probably, honestly, that's probably one of our top priorities right now as a GM, to get Jared Stidham back in the fold. Now, we don't know. See, the whole thing is we don't know. I don't think they're going to bring him in as a QB1. So, give him a couple, 2-3 million, right, to be the backup guy. I think that's fair. But you never know. You never know with this regime. So, never know. All right. Anybody got anything else? We're getting near the hour mark. I do appreciate each and every one of you coming here. And if you did not see the review of the offensive side, the video, the full live stream will be out, but I'll put a condensed, kind of cleaned up version like I normally do. Anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. You have to go through all that stuff, all the ums and uhs and all that stuff as well, and all that. But if you like that, you like it uncut, watch it there. So it will be out once we get this down, and then I'll probably put a condensed version out tomorrow when I can get access to the live stream. YouTube, it takes a little bit of time for me to download the actual full live stream, believe it or not. So. All right, let's see. All right, anybody got anything else before we close this out? Again, I'm going to close out the chat right now. Get that out of the way here. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Again, the green screen, it's getting a little bit better every time. I've been fiddling with the back screen, without the back screen. Various things. It's still with these headphones. I think that's probably the thing. I had a mic. It was kind of giving me some issues, so I kind of went away from it. But I might go back to that. We will see. That might help me out with this as far as the green screen. If you do like this green screen, let me know. The concept in general, let me know about that. If you have any other comments or suggestions for the channel, you put that in there as well. Let's see. That said, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I know a lot of you come out, a lot of my regulars. The channel, as far as how it's going, it went a little bit better, honestly. I made some of those changes I talked about before, kind of disassociated from some of my associations, which I thought might be kind of putting me on a naughty Santa Claus list with the platform. And I'm getting more views now. I'm getting more subs now. It's not quite where I want it, of course. I think probably everybody says that. So, but there is improvement. I will continue to improve the program. I will continue to improve the graphics. Everything is up for review and improvement. If you have any topics that you want to specifically have a show on, you can put that in there as well. Put in the comments of the videos as well. I would appreciate that. Let's see. Let's see. Try switching to StreamYard. Yeah, I've seen that as an option. I've been using OBS for a while. I kind of got used to it. But yeah, that's an option as well. StreamYard is an option. Hey Juan, how are you doing? I appreciate you coming on in. Let's see. You agree with Al's Ghost? Yeah, like I said, I've looked into StreamYard. That is definitely an option for the channel. I was kind of wondering where the channel was really going. And like I said, I was kind of having some questions with the platform, whether or not it's actually promoting the channel the way it should by how things were going the last few months. So that said, I think things are on course now. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to do our mock drafts. If you haven't been here before, this is our third season doing this. We're going to do mock drafts. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to put the graphics out there, and we're going to do it together. We're going to be the GM, and they have the, and I'll give you the links so you can do them on your own as well once we get there. Probably around the March time frame. We could probably do that in the next few weeks. I want to get through this, filling the holes out on this team first, and then we'll get to that. Plus, the mocks will be better suited as far as the rankings go, will be more realistic. I found when you do them early, they're not as realistic as they should be. So, let's see. What kind of headset do you use? The sound is very clear. I just got like a standard headset. I don't even know the name of the brand. I'd take it off and probably mess up the green screen. But it's kind of a standard type messing with that. I appreciate that. I had one like it before, and my cats, if you've watched this before, I have cats around here. I think they chewed on the old one and the sound was messed up, so I just bought another one. And I think it's been good ever since, so we're good to go with that. Let's see. And Juan, last comment. Looks like we might get some draft picks for Derek Carr. We'll see. I want to be optimistic as far as the Raiders go because we need all the help we can get. We need all the draft capital we can get. But Derek Carr doesn't have to do us any favors. And I'm interested to see what he has to say after he's out of here. He's a pretty humble guy. I'm sure his brother David will be whining and crying about this, that, and the other. So the dramedy will not be over once Derek moves on, whether we cut him or we trade him away. I'm still leaning towards that we're just going to cut him. Again, he has a no trade clause, and if we don't, we have to get rid of him or have a trade in place in principle beforehand, because a month before the season actually starts, free agency begins and all that. If we don't cut him, we're going to owe him $40 million guaranteed, 35 this year and 5 next year. So it would behoove the Raiders to try to get rid of him, but would it really behoove Derek Carr to get traded right now? If you're going to get that guaranteed money, even if we cut him, we have to give him that money. We could trade him after the fact. I don't know. It gets a little dicey. I know the Stafford deal was kind of made in principle. It can happen. I think the situation was much different there than here. And it kind of won-won. It's a win-win in that situation. Rams won a championship, and Jared Goff is looking pretty good. He had a great season, and Detroit got all those draft picks. So, all right, guys. We're right at about the hour point. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. And honestly, if there's anything else, it looks like I got 10 people in here now. Not a lot of talk in the chat, but if you want to go on, we can go on. But I pretty much said what I had to say for this week as far as what I wanted to put out. If we want to start maybe we should start the live streams a little bit later, because it looks like we're getting more people as we go on later. That's an option as well. Maybe I'll start at perhaps 7 o'clock Pacific or 6:30. Try to get a good feel for you guys. You guys let me know. That's what's going to help get this channel better and have us all have a good time with this. And this is what I want to do. I want to have fun with you guys. I want to bounce things off of you. I want to hear your opinions. I want to give you my opinions on the situations. And, as a Raider fan, kind of commiserate. I mean, Shit, we've been in hell for a long time now. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when they won a championship, won a Super Bowl. A lot of people have not. A lot of people weren't even born then, are Raider fans. So that's a testament to you guys sticking it out, basically rooting for a team that's basically just a comedy of errors the last 20 years. So keep up the great work, great content. Appreciate it, Alex Ghost. Thank you very much. And with that said, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching and appreciating the channel. Like it on the way out. I appreciate that as well. And as always, go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.